The Hill is reporting on some House Republicans being called out for not paying their party dues on time. Steve King, Thaddeus McCotter, Joe Wilson, and Ron Paul are just a few of the lawmakers that owe the party more than $1 million. The public embarrassment tactic is not typical for Republicans. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Ryan Frazier is the CEO of Western Skies Forum in Denver. Ben Ferguson is a radio talk show host in Memphis, and Julie Rajinski is a Democratic strategist. Ben, let's start with you.
Yeah, you know, this one is a little surprising because usually they do this, like they say, behind the scenes. And you see some of these guys. I think one of the things is some of them are very flamboyant, and they have no problem walking out there on TV and telling you what they think and what's going wrong. And their own party's kind of saying, hey, you know, we're helping you stay there every couple of years, so you might want to pay us back the money we invest in your campaign trail. I don't blame them for doing it. I do think it's pretty funny.
Well, Julie, who knew it was this expensive to be a Republican?
Oh. Well, it's expensive to be anybody in politics these days because people in politics, you know, it costs millions to run even a small House race. Look, as a Democrat, I'm thrilled they're not paying their dues, but if they want to keep the majority in 2 years, I suggest they probably pony up because they're not going to have those committee chairmanships if they don't pony up.
All right. Ryan, what do you say?
Well, I think, you know, no one owes anybody anything. I think what folks are saying is that, look, you know, if we want to hold on or increase our majority in the House, we need resources. And those members that have the means to do so, we need you to step up to the plate. But the reality is this. No one owes anyone anything. And I think that the House Republicans need to do a better job of handling this situation internally and ensuring that this type of stuff is not aired in the public debate, in the press.
Aren't these the same people who were calling for responsibility at the national level on the budget? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right, next story. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid is singing the same old tune on Social Security. He's open to changing the program, but only in 20 years. Does that mean reform is dead? Julie?
Well, I don't know if it's dead. It's not looking good. Look, again, you know, I like Harry Reid, but I suggest we start looking at options now. I'm fully in support of raising the retirement age by a couple of years so that we save a lot of money in that direction. There are things we need to start looking now, not when it's broke in 20 or 30 years. We need to start looking at the problem today so that for not necessarily my generation, but for the generation of my kids, that we actually have something for them to retire with, or else, you know, Social Security cannot be addressed the minute it goes bankrupt. It needs to be addressed decades before, I believe.
Well, Ben, that's right? I mean, we can't wait till the last minute to actually get our arms around this. It's got to be done now.
Well, Harry Reid summed up his entire political career with this quote. I mean, it's time for him to ride off into the sunset. And this is what he's done his entire life. He's like, oh, it's not my problem. We'll deal with that when I'm dead. I mean, literally, that's what he said is he'll be like 90, 91 years old. He'll be dead. I mean, I worked with President Bush on Social Security reform. The Congressional Budget Office said, we've got a problem. And both sides of the aisle since 1994, even Bill Clinton said we got a problem. Harry Reid's the only one that seems to be senile on this issue.
Senile on this issue. Come on, Ryan, bring some intelligent commentary to this out-of-control conversation.
It's really hard to take these types of comments from the majority leader seriously. You know, it's like he's saying that, you know, we're going to wait until we're within 10 feet of the cliff before we even talk about turning the car around. The reality is that all of us who've been following this debate realize that Social Security is in trouble and that we have to take care of the situation a lot sooner than later. Unfortunately, President Obama's own budget ignores entitlement reform, and I think that's a mistake. If we're going to leave next generations better off, we have to do something now and not kick the can down the street.
You know, and I think there's some political will to do that right now, which is new and different.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the next story. A Consumer Federation of America poll shows a record number of Americans are worried about gas prices and about our dependence on foreign oil. 8 of 10 Americans are greatly concerned. That's up 20% from just 1 year ago and is the highest level of concern since the survey began. Ryan, what do you make of that?
You know, people are right to be concerned, Jerry, and it's not just gas. It's our grocery prices. Have you been to the grocery store lately? I tell you what, the cost of everything seems to be going up and up. And I think that this is the reality of the situation we're in today with the instability in the Middle East, the lack of us taking advantage of our domestic resources here at home. Here's the facts. We need a better energy policy with respect to an all-of-the-above energy approach, doing more to develop more of our natural resources right here at home. Natural gas is an abundant, clean energy source, and we have an abundance right here in America, and we need to do more to get that energy into the homes of everyday Americans. That'll help us reduce the cost of energy, but we have to get serious about that debate.
Julie, is it drill, baby, drill?
No, it's efficiency, baby, efficiency. I mean, we need to raise, car efficiency, auto efficiency standards, which most Americans support. I'm sorry, the Republican Party doesn't believe in greenhouse gases, so they don't support it. And look, natural gas exploration is a good idea. I'm still a fan of nukes. I know that that's not the popular position to take, but it's, we need to get off our dependence on oil. Period. We need to find new energy sources from which to derive our energy needs.
So, Ben, we're going to drive those efficient cars, and we're going to use those funky little light bulbs, and everything's going to be okay. Right?
Yeah, and we'll all sing Kumbaya when we have rolling blackouts and everything else, but you got to look at this administration. The President of the United States of America appointed a guy to be his energy secretary that literally said on the record with the Wall Street Journal last summer that he wanted to find a way to make gas prices go up so that alternative energy will become more competitive. So not only is the White House out of touch on this one, not only are they not going to drill here, not only do they basically have a moratorium on drilling in the Gulf, they also have a guy that's in charge of their energy that's saying, we like higher prices for the average American. And that's killing middle class and lower class people more than anybody else. But this administration, I don't think they mind it. They like it.
All right, guys. Thanks, Ryan, Ben, and Julie. Great job.
Thanks for having us.
Interesting comments, good conversation.